Going to school, they don't want to. Or being losers anymore because the loser, unemployed, musty, stinky, ugly ones are now the majority as opposed to the minority, and are also supported by pick-me women.
The reality is a lot more women are realizing that a lot of the millennial generation of men are baby boys.
Have to rise up to meet women's standard because women are no longer settling. And if you want us, you need to rise to our level.
Women have been evolving for decades.
Go work on your self-mastery so that you could rise up and meet.
Men going to school, they don't want to. That's it. That's all. They just do not want to. The simplest answer is almost always the correct answer, and it just boils down to that. In a day and age where writing a resume is as simple as using AI to assist you, where a job hunt can be done from your phone, you don't even need a desktop or a laptop computer to do that, where interviews for jobs take place virtually, there's no excuse. They just do not want to. Well, they're subject to a system, they're being disenfranchised by the system system that minority women and poor women are subject to, and yet and still we thrive and come out of it, or try to at least. And what do the men do? We've seen stories on social media of women who are going through labor, like delivering a child, a human being, and taking final exams. We see women bring their children to classes with them when they're enrolled in school. We see single moms all the time working 2-3 jobs and have a passion project side hustle, like just for funsies. What are the men's excuses at this point? Couple the fact that they don't want to with the fact that they're not socially shamed for being losers anymore because the loser, unemployed, musty, stinky, ugly ones are now the majority as opposed to the minority. So there's no social pressure anymore to perform on them, right? The men who provided that social pressure through like bullying are dying out. And quite frankly, maybe they need to die out because they introduced a lot of the toxicity that we're experiencing now in patriarchal systems. But with them dying out, also dies out the bullying that other men would be subject to. This also plays into like why enlistment numbers are down for the armed forces as well, because the men, if they don't want to work and go into an office or a shop to go work, and if they don't want to enroll in someone's classroom, then they're certainly not going to enlist in the armed forces to possibly die either, because they just don't want to. That's it. And to like rub salt in the wound, these men are also supported by pick-me women who like fully support their loser-ish behavior. They let them, these
You can't make this shit up.
You see this? And they wonder why certain people were so popular. This big lady,
real talk alert,
that nobody wants.
We agree.
Think because she went to college, got that degree, and got a good job, she has it all. I got something for you guys because they're going to college for these things. I'm going to show you guys why this is the way. Let her finish, though.
These kinds of men live with them for free. They procreate and have children for these men. They give them their cars, give them access to their income. So essentially, these men don't want to do anything, and they're not being stigmatized or bullied into doing anything. And they're supported by women and still have access to pum-pum despite being losers. So what incentive do they have to bother with their own lives? Why should they have to bother trying when they can just spend their lives aimlessly meandering through life with no clear objective or goal or whatever? They can just continue being losers, and they're fine with that.
Shaming tactics meant to keep you stuck. People who can't win the argument tend to use shaming tactics.
The irony for me comes in the fact that these same loser men idolize accomplished men who were not born into wealth or status, but who, through their own ambition, through blind luck, or through hard work.
When they're losing an argument or can't stand on the merits of the argument, they want to come out with an insult.
Have achieved notoriety or have achieved fame and wealth. Specifically, professional athletes, musicians, entertainers, etc. Like, I want to ask these loser men, when you idolize those successful men, how do you think those men became successful? They weren't born into privilege, so they had to get up and go to work. They had to work at their craft. They had to keep trying even when they failed. They had to believe in themselves. They had to be self-motivated and self-actualized. Like, that's the ironic part for me. But we as a society and we as self-actualized, ambitious women just have to acknowledge and accept that the men are the way they are because they want to be. They have all of the tools, they have all of the technology, they have access to these tools and this technology. They can improve themselves at the flick of a switch without even having to get up from their stained couch in their grandma's basement or wherever it is they're couch hopping, because sometimes it's not even grandma's basement, right? They can. They just don't want to. We need to accept that and leave them behind. Society is moving on past the need for them, and we need to move on and leave them behind as well. That's it.
She said, leave men behind. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's time for me to cook, right? Everybody knows what I preach. For the longest time, I've been telling so many men, this is the way. I'm going to show the full example of why this is the way. And I'm going to show exactly why this argument is leading to men getting better and getting better women. I'm going to show you guys that. Look at this. I didn't go to college, not one day. Now, this is what I mean by men getting better and getting better women. Because guys are doing this. Guys that live overseas, this is what they're benefiting from. Look at this. You can make up to $126,000 in 2025. If you make up to that much, you don't have to pay federal taxes. Look at this. Watch this, y'all. Any foreign earned income, if you live outside of the country for 330 days out of the year. What does that mean? You guys gonna learn today. Oh, you're gonna learn. That means getting better females, getting away from Big Bertha. Got Big Bertha hiccuping and burping, making fun of guys while guys are on planes.
Always complaining. It's hot. I'm hungry.
So many guys know about this already. So many guys are taking advantage of this already. You wonder where the men are going? This is where they're going. They're going over, they're doing this and going over to Colombia, going to the Philippines, going to Thailand. 330 days living out of the year. Or you qualify for a bona fide resident. I qualify for both. Also, you can have an S Corp in Wyoming and receive the tax benefits from that. Even if you haven't been planning retirement, you can book a solo 401k, max it out, and have that and have your full retirement in 10 years. Now you guys fully see why I say this is the way.
Sure is.
I do this all the time on my meetings. I couldn't hold back. I've saw this too much. I'm pissed now. Look at this, guys. Look at this. You're gonna learn today. Watch this. Look what you get off. When you live outside of the country, you can have an S Corp in Wyoming. Now, an S Corp in Wyoming doesn't matter. You don't have to live in that state because you live outside the country. You get all the tax benefits. The only thing you pay is a $60 fee per year. They keep all your information private. Nobody knows about it. So nobody can't sue you anything like that. Look, when they say spending money to make money, this is what they're talking about. See, these ladies going to college to learn all this stuff. I teach guys this for $100. This is what I've been posting. This is what you see in my first comment. I'm pissed now. Look at this. This is where you shine because you do YouTube, travel content, and teaching. That's what I'm doing right now. Look what you could benefit from. I know you guys remember Streamers University, right? Because not Agent 000, he had a class saying he spent $100,000 on advertising, and he made $350,000. Now that $100,000 doesn't equal up to the $350,000, so the man is most likely paying minimal taxes. Why? Because he's living off the dividends, and he's paying himself a small salary. That's what you can do with an S Corp. Guess how much it costs me to live out here? $1,000 right now. As far as right, it's gonna cost about $1,500. But as far as right now, actually about $2,000 because I'm going to be traveling all over the world. So look what I can get when I travel all over the world. It costs me around $20,000 a year to live, right? So I can pay myself a $20,000 to $25,000 a year salary. You living in the West probably pay more than that. But look what you get. This is spending money to make money. You paying for your solo 401k and your S corp is paying 25%. That say that 5,000. That's profit. Look at this. All of your phones, cameras, microphones, software and subscriptions. Also, travel around like a baller. You're talking that, yeah, men, this is what men are learning. And you know why? It's to our advantage. Because these ladies are going to treat us like kings. You think you're getting the same treatment by going overseas? Some of you may know, but you're going to get bored and go home. Some of you may live a life of loneliness on the road forever. Mills, if you're recording it, you can book that, have that, say if you want to boil out and get caviar. You taking a video of it? 100%. Home office. I got a program where I teach how to hire people to work for you. And you can get 100% credit for that. This is the way.
Couldn't agree more.
I think the reality is a lot more women are realizing that a lot of the millennial generation of men are baby boys. And there's a lot more of this baby boy syndrome than ever before. And I've had to say to a lot of women that you have to make a decision. You're either going to build with someone and build them up or build yourself up. But you have to make a choice. This is interesting because a recent article from the UK Daily Mail, they did some research and found that the US were producing more of a generation called the Lost Boys. What they've coined as the terminology of Lost Boys is essentially a generation of men who basically lack drive and lack ambition enough to start careers and instead drop out of college and languish in their parents' basement surfing the internet. Stems from a conversation that I overheard on the train. I was on my way to central London and there was a group of young girls having a conversation about the dating scene and their dating experiences. And they were all from different corners of the world. Before everybody starts doing, oh, black girls, white women, everybody, it come like United Nations in that friendship circle. So everybody had their own little representation. New data shows that women are earning more degrees than men as of recently, and between 1970 to 2007 women saw a salary increase of 44%, whereas men saw an increase of just 6%, which they deem it due to lack of motivation from men and more motivation from women. Unemployment rates, they say that from 1950 the unemployment rate for men was 5%. Now it is at a staggering 20%. However, I just think that is just due to economic factors. Like when it comes to economic factors, I don't really penalize men because let's be real, the system does work against them to some degree. Motivation is needed, yes, but I've seen it for myself. The system does work against them, even when they do try. We must give that. Then CNN did their own research, right? They did their own study. And they were assessing behaviors, they were assessing lack of motivation, and they were assessing failures within men. And they came to the conclusion that the reason why these things was happening was because, one, men are more out of the family than ever before, and there's more men being birthed out of wedlock than ever before, which is interesting. That's their own study. And they were saying that the educational gender gap is because women are more so accessing education than their male counterparts. And due to this study, CNN have said that they consider men to be the new economic underclass within society. Some of you are shouting, some of you can take accountability. Funny enough, this article talks about the lack of accountability as to why men are not growing and maturing and staying stagnant in growth. Lack of accountability. However, some of you have taken accountability. But like I said before, women are clearly outperforming men. Some of you want the data, I've given it to you. A factor for me that is not spoken about in this article, but I've spoken to parents about this, is the way young boys, especially within our community, are being parented by their mothers. That relationship and that dynamic does not help this new generation of men. And I think it has kept a lot of this generation of men very, very stagnant, especially the ones who grew up in single mother households. I've noticed is how a lot of men today, especially within our community, don't have emotional intelligence, because the emotional intelligence that they had gathered is one that they got from their mothers, and it's an intertwined emotional intelligence with her own. And remember, hers will come from struggle, hardship, and survival, and the boys are picking up on these things, navigating through their mothers, and then trying to navigate society. And that is why when they're going out in the world, it's just pure confusion, because it's not even their emotions, their own emotions that they're leading with. It's other people's. A lot of men are absorbing a lot of women's energies because they're confused, because a lot of the energy that they started with were from their mothers. And that was just embedded in so much trauma to begin with. So your foundation is almost ruptured from the start. Find this video that I just watched yesterday with Candace Owens, and she was talking to a guy, I've forgotten his name. And he was talking about the roots of homosexuality and how it starts from a mother's wound. A lot of this stuff that is going on within men and within society starts from a mother's wound. This is the reason why everyone has to do healing. It should be compulsory. I think it should be taught in schools, and it should be compulsory.
I'm pissed. Seriously. I know you guys can probably tell, but I'm pissed. I'm getting tired of this. They keep doing this. They keep trying to put us down. You know what? You know what season it is right now? And I already had a package low, right? I had it to around 100 because it's going up to 200. But I had a low for you guys. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do one better than that. So anybody that wants a serious come up, that wants to learn everything that I know, right? For a limited time offer, it's usually 100. I'm giving it away for 25 bucks. 25 bucks. Yeah. Anybody that's definitely down on their feet, that needs some information, that needs the right information, 25 bucks. That's how mad I am. But it's around that time of year. It's Black Friday anyway. $25. Think we playing.
To have to rise up to meet women's standard, because women are no longer settling.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you something. We don't care.
Women are no longer settling for mediocrity. You see, men believe that because they were born a man, that women are going to fall over them. But what women have been doing, women have been working on themselves. They have been working on personal development. They have been working on self-development. They have been working on female empowerment. They have been educated. They have been working on their finance. Women have just been working on themselves overall. And because of all that work that they have been doing, women now love themselves. They have fallen in love with themselves, right? And so they know their worth. They know what they desire. They know what they want.
We do not care.
And so women are no longer going to settle for mediocrity. Women are just happy being by themselves. They center themselves. They love themselves. And so that is the reason why man is coming out and telling women that they need to settle, because they're scared, right? They have that scarcity mindset. So they want women to fall down to their level.
She's trying to throw in what Kevin Samuels used to say.
Here, and if you want us, you need to rise to our level. You need to rise up to meet us, because we are no longer going to come down to meet you, because we know what we deserve.
You can't make this shit up.
And so when you say to us that we're going to die lonely, we're not going to die lonely, because we're happy with other women up here making friends and having a community.
I'm a lesbian.
And so you are the one who's going to die lonely unless you rise up and go work on self-development, go work on your finance, go work on your self-mastery, so that you could rise up and meet us, right?
No, thank you.
Up here, because we are no longer going to settle just because you say that you're a man. All right.
Woo, this is funny. This is funny. Look, you can do that with men who don't know what's going on. This doesn't work with a man like me.
Nope.
Or a man like you can be. They think, guys, it's supposed to be one way forever. Things are changing. When I saw what was happening, I told you guys, I'm the Iceman. When I saw that shift was happening in the country, when I saw everything happen, I said, I'll say it again. I said it in one of my last videos. I'm going to say it again. Not because I'm trying to show off, because it's the truth. See, they think it's the other way, but it's not. And they wonder why men aren't dating, talking like it's supposed to be one way all the time. No, it's not. It's the other way. It's not your way. Yeah, you went and got all them college degrees. Waste the money. Waste the money. Some of you are doing good. But a lot of you ladies are getting out with them college degrees and can't get a job because they want people like me. They want experience. You ladies thought it was a game. I said it before. The Iceman is coming. This is past winter. We're in a hellstorm. Look at this here. Look what men are saying. We're done settling. We are the prize. Rise up, Basali. Women must work to maintain their own standards. Yes, they do. So true. You can put more volume. You see what's happening? You see the divide? They think they're winning with degrees. I have consultations all the time, and I talk to guys. They get so excited, like, wow, I can't believe this is at my disposal. Men are leveling up without wasting money on school. It's right now, it's the time of giving. The time of giving is now. The ice storm is coming, ladies. When is winter hit? December? It's going to be a cold winter. Actually, not a cold winter. Winter's already here.
Winter is here.
Are not required to evolve. Women have been evolving for decades to get where they are in 2025. And because men are not evolving and they don't want to, the powers that be are trying to snatch away women's rights to force women to be with these men that they don't want to be with. And my question to men, one, why aren't you evolving? That's number one. Number two, why in the hell would you want to force a woman to be with you? Why don't you want genuine love and affection from somebody who admires and loves you wholeheartedly? Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you want to subjugate and to knock down a woman in order to and gatekeep her to make her stay with you? Why would you want to do that? I'm curious. I'm very curious about that. Genuinely curious about the answer to that. Number three, regardless of how much these men try to force women back into the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, we are not going by any means necessary. And that means putting men's life in danger as well. We're not going. We're not going to do it. We're not going to be with you. We're not going to give you what you want. It's not going to happen. Come hell or high water, it's not going to happen. You're not going to live this happy life and have this happy life and this happy marriage and the white picket fence, and it's not going to happen. Why would you try to force a woman to do that? You think you're going to have a glorious life forcing a woman to be in the household with you and have your kids? You think that's going to be wonderful for you? Women are going to find a way out. It is what it is.
See, she talking like that. My wife just made me these chicken. What is this, Kay?
Musubi.
A masuvi. Spam chicken with egg, right? Delicious. I'm living 5-star life. I'm about to go to the province. I gotta tell you guys, right? I gotta tell you guys about the life. I'm gonna have a whole home for a studio, all paid for, because every part of the house is gonna be for content. The kitchen is gonna be for cooking content. I'm gonna have a gym in there. I'm gonna have a setup like this, office. Yeah, the whole house, 100% content, all paid off, all 100% credited for. Yeah. This is that life. These ladies don't know. We about to show you guys the life. When you get away from this, I'm gonna bring you guys to the heat. When it's cold, you guys come into the tropics. Iceman got you.
Men don't know how to lead, and it's not their fault. It is not the men's fault in totality for why they don't know how to lead in modern age. And that is because we are moving away from a patriarchy. We are still in one by definition, but we are moving away from it, which means a lot of things that used to be laid out for them, they're so confused about. Like before, there was a path, and the path was easier because there was less competition. Now everybody's in the workforce, regardless of, gender, race, income levels. People are entering the workforce at greater numbers than before, which means it's not possible for men to be able to buy a house and support an entire family off of an average income. And because we used to live in a society that perpetuated gender roles, that made it easier for men to lead. They knew their part. They knew where their role is. They knew what they were in charge of. Now they don't know that because obviously we're moving away from gender roles. Women can now own property. Women can now do a lot of things they once did not know. So men are struggling with knowing when to step in and when to step up and when to create space for someone else to take the lead. Another reason is that women were a lot more feminine back then, right? Hyper feminine, where men were hyper masculine. And we're starting to balance out, okay? This is not a bad thing. It's just when women were hyper feminine, there was less risk for rejection because women more or less acted the same, right? Women used to speak in a high-pitched tone. If you look at movies and women's back in like the 50s, they spoke in a higher register. We just had a more feminine tonality. But now, as we've entered the workforce, our tone has gone down so that we can command more authority. And that was one of the changes that happened when we started entering the workforce. So men have more fear, right? Men in the past did not have to deal with this or have to deal with this. So it's another thing that's making it really hard for men to learn how to step up because women have actually become more assertive than a lot of men are now. I'm not saying men aren't assertive anymore. That's a generalized statement. There, of course, is always going to be men who are and men who aren't. But there is an increasing number of more passive men and an increasing number of more assertive women. So men and women are having a hard time coming together, trying to figure out, okay, wait, what do I do? What do you do? But it's a lot easier than we think. The hard part is just we don't really know ourselves well enough to have these conversations. Like, we just need to have a conversation. Hey, I'm really good at leading in this area, so I'll take care of this. You're really good at this, so take care of this. But women don't know what they want. Women and men don't have a direction. If men do not have a direction, they are not going to know how to make choices and how to make decisions. Because a man that is a great leader has a vision. He knows where he's going. And so when it comes down to making micro and macro choices, he's like, okay, what will bring me closer to this vision? What will bring me closer to this goal? And then that is the compass for how he makes choices. But a man without direction doesn't know. And so a lot of times a man lacking direction will find a woman that does have one, because it's easier to jump on someone else's ship than try to, build your own.
Dating show for education. That's it. I only do it for education, just to see honestly how delusional women and men can be sometimes, especially women. Y'all pass up some very good men, especially some of those short brothers. Y'all give those short brothers a hard time. And a lot of those short brothers on that show have the nicest disposition, and they have excellent careers. I'm talking careers where they can take care of you and the kids that you have. It was one short brother up here on this last show that I watched, and he said that he was an engineer, and I think he was one of those engineers that made bank. And they kept passing him up, and I noticed that they was focusing their attention on the tall, dark, and handsome dude with the skinny jeans on. Y'all remember that video I made the other day? They kept focusing their attention on that guy. And he want nothing but it. No shade. This is no shade. You get your money how you get your money, but I'm just keeping it real. He want nothing but it, like a security guard. And I think he was like a police officer. And we all know they don't make that much money. We all know that. I'm just confused because a lot of you women are claiming that you want a provider, but yet you're also going by the aesthetics. That's what you're doing. You're going by the aesthetics because I want to wash my mouth. let me tell y'all something. A lot of these tall, dark, and handsome ninjas, they ain't got no job. They ain't got no job. They got mommy issues, and they are extremely narcissistic. That's one thing that I noticed. All you had to do is watch that balloon popping dating show. Every last one of those men up there that's at least 6 feet and above, they are always extremely sassy, cocky, and they just so full of themselves, which is a very unhealthy trait. Which is a very unhealthy trait. But these are the men that y'all desire. And it's sick. And I don't know what rock y'all living under. I really, really don't. But you better go find you a decent man, a decent, healthy man that can provide for you and that can protect you. Because a lot of these men that are extremely pleasing to look at are the biggest narcissists. And you better get with the program. Not to mention, a lot of you women are extremely unrealistic. Extremely unrealistic. The audacity of y'all to say something about that brother's hairpiece that he had on his head when you guys are walking around with a toupee and a mop on your head at least 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. You better not ever part your lips saying anything about what a man is doing to his hairline, whether he has a spray on hairline or whatever the case may be. You women have an entire unit on your head. This is why I say the delusion is at max level. The delusion is at max level, and y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop.
Winter is here.